Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to show you how to remove the upper and lower arms on a Maverick Quantum Flux. It's a common failure on these cars and we really think a lot of you probably want to know how to remove them when you're starting out in the hobby. So I hope you enjoy the video, guys. As well, guys, just to remind you, in the previous video we announced that we're going to be giving away a free Maverick Quantum Flux to one of you lucky guys. So if you haven't entered yet, check out that previous video after you've watched this video in the links below, and it will tell you everything you need to know about how to enter. That is first place. Second place, we're going to be giving away some L&P RC mugs, and third place we're going to be giving away a selection of L&P RC stickers like this of our favourite design. So best of luck, guys, and as I said, I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. Guys, to remove the lower arm, or indeed the upper arm, on a Maverick Quantum Flux, you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a 8mm hex wrench or similar to undo the wheel nuts. You're going to need a 2mm driver. You're going to need a set of pliers. I've got this funky hammer. Hammer can be useful to lightly tap in the pins. Obviously you don't want one too big, otherwise you'll be sending it to the moon. Possibly a flathead screwdriver as well. But let's get cracking. We're working on the front or the rear of the car. The first thing you need to do, depending on which arm you want to take off, is remove the bumper assembly. Exactly the same on the front or the back. For argument's sake, let's do the front today. Obviously I've already took off my wheel, so all you do is take your 8mm hex, or more heavy duty if it's tight, take off the wheel nut and then take your wheel off. You can leave the hex bolt there in place. Put that back. Right, so first thing you want to do, guys, is take your 2mm Allen driver. Underneath the front there are two hex bolts. I'll take those two off first. Put the car back in the stand just to make my life a bit easier. So we'll take these two hex screws off first. Take care not to lose them. What I do, guys, is I take them out 90% so that they're not holding the bumper in place anymore. They're just in the plastic so they don't fall on the floor. So undo them to 90%. Next thing we want to do, guys, is take out the two hex bolts on the top. You got one there and one there, so we'll just take those out now. Like I said again, take them out to about 90% so they're not fully out, they're just out enough to release the bumper. So you can see they're still in place, but the bumper's been released. Set your bumper to one side. Next thing we want to do is just take off these two here. You've got two hex screws, I suppose they are, in the front there. 1 and 2. Take them off. This is exactly the same, guys, whether it's front or rear. The bumper assemblies are practically the same, so don't worry about if you're taking off the front or the rear lower arm. Take that 90%, so it doesn't fall on the floor. And remove that, put it to one side. The reason we want to take those off, guys, is they actually cover the pins. Yeah. Next thing we want to do, guys, obviously I've got different suspension on this car, but we want the standard suspension will look like that. Practically the same, just mine's longer, these are a bit fatter. So all you want to do is undo the two hex screws in here 1 and 2 to remove your shock from the car. You can take these out fully, and these are obviously exactly the same whether you've got different suspension or standard suspension. Just take these out, set them to one side. Take them out, set them to one side. Obviously my suspension, as I said, is slightly different. Just push the suspension from the bottom out of the lower arm. This won't happen on yours, guys. I've got different pivot balls in mine because it's different suspension. Yours won't fall out, they'll still be in the shock, so don't worry about losing anything. Just take your shock out hole and put that to one side. Yeah, have you noticed, guys, I've took the wrong flipping shock off. I've got to remove these, so remove the shock. Right, guys, once you've we want to undo, if you're doing the top arm, you want to undo the 2 screws here for the pivot ball. If you're doing the bottom, you want to undo the 2 screws at the bottom for the pivot ball. Don't worry too much about this because we can leave that in situ. So as I said, we'll just undo the bottom one for this. So we'll undo the 2 screws to the pivot ball. You don't need to move them all the way out as before, because we'll actually use them to take this plastic cup out. So we'll just undo them, as I said before, about 90%. And what we do is we grab hold of the screw, if it's out enough, just wiggle the little plastic pivot ball cap off. Put that to one side. Right, for the pivot ball, you need a 3mm hex. So we'll undo that all the way. And once it's undone, we can take the pivot ball out. And then quite simply, don't worry about your drive shaft coming out, that's fine. Quite simply, I'm not going to do it, guys, because I don't want to take my arm off. But if you want to take the bottom arm off, all you do is pull this pin all the way out. It's literally a pin. Just take note, guys, that towards the rear of the arm, there's a little spacer. It's literally just in front of my finger there. On the lower arm, on the top arm, it's at the front. The easiest way to put the arm in, guys, is to remove the skid plate under the car. If you refer to my previous videos where I rebuild the Mavericks, you can find out exactly how to remove and reattach the front or rear skid plates. If you leave the skid plates intact, then it is quite a fiddly job, and you have to push the pin 3/4 of the way through, then fiddle the spacer into position onto the pin, and then push the pin all the way through. The easiest way, I'd say, guys, is to remove the skid plate, and it makes your life much easier. So I'm not actually gonna take it out, but literally all you do is take the lower pin out for the lower arm, make sure not to lose the washer, and the top pin out for the top arm. You don't necessarily need to undo the steering buckle, but if you want to, it's just a 2mm Allen wrench there. Undo that, literally unscrews, don't lose a screw, and then screw it back in. Simple as that. If you're doing the rear of the car, guys, all you need to do is take off the tie rod, which comes off here. So just undo that, and that will give you access to the lower arm. Same as the front. Take notice to where the plastic spacers are. On mine, they're rearward. I think there is one normally forward, but I've lost that. But as long as you've got the rearward one, which goes in between, there's a brass thingamajiggy which it goes into. Refitting is just the reverse. Once you've got that fiddly pin in your arm, your spacers are correctly seated and your pin's all the way home. I mentioned about the hammer because sometimes I use the little hammer just to tap the pin home. If it's getting a little bit stuck, just gently tap. Obviously don't send it to the moon, but that's the use of my little hammer. For the refitting, we just want to get the pillar ball on your Allen wrench. Make sure your drive shaft is in the center coupling. Put your pillar ball in and screw it. With a brand new arm, it sometimes takes a little bit of effort to get it to bite. Once it's bit, just tighten it all the way home. Just a side note, on some cars these pillar balls are set such that it affects the geometry of your car, so it's an idea to check before you take them off how they're set. But on these cars we just wind them all the way in, so we're screwing that all the way in. Don't worry if you forgot to put your drive shafts in. The amount of times I've put the pillar balls in and done the cover up and then I'm like, damn, I forgot to put the drive shaft in. So don't worry, and then we just put the pillar ball cover in, 2mm Allen wrench, just do it up. Don't get these mixed up because the bottom one goes on the bottom, the top goes at the top, and if you put the bottom dust cover in the top, it won't fit properly and it will protrude or won't screw in properly. Don't send it to the moon, just nip it up. Like with everything, these just go into plastic, so you don't want to strip it. Yeah, that's in there nice now. Drive shaft's in. So all you're going to do then is pop your wheel back on, do it up, make sure you tighten it up properly, and jobs are good and got. Any problems, guys, give me a shout. You can find us on Instagram, direct message us, and I'll help you as best I can. But it's a simple job, guys, and I hope that helps. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time.